Hey, it's Axel Grave again, member of Comic Convos and 3D Productions, back with another episode of Hardcore Casual. This is our first set, and I think this is the third episode for Season 2 of Iron Fist. We're doing, I'm doing a review after I watch every episode so I can keep it in time, both critically and, just as a fan, so that's why it's Hardcore Casual. So we're going to start right into it. It opens up with Danny washing blood off of his shirt. It's pretty nice, hardcore with sirens. He had just come in at like 7 or whatever back home. Colleen wakes up and he's just like, yeah, to stop. Someone got shot on the docks trying to steal something with the fight between the Triad gangs, the Golden Tigers and the Hatchets. And so with that, he's just like, oh, I'm doing all this, and she's like, you don't sleep, you're not home, you're overworking yourself, and he's just deflecting and trying to get away. He's like, yeah, I have all these problems with Davos and Joyce, and then there's that, and he's like, oh yeah, and he goes to the title sequence. We see hop back in on Ward at his meeting, and he is pissed that Joyce knows he's in NA, so he's absolutely sure someone ratted him out. He's just a rude dick to everybody. He says, fuck you. It's like, what is it because of the money? I would have paid you if you wanted money. You could have just told me. And it's just like, he even screws up his relationship with like the leader of his like NA group, his like whatever sponsor, I guess. And they had been like, I guess I forgot to mention it because it was like a small part that it didn't really matter to the story. They were like having sex. I guess it does, but not really too much because now he screwed it up. And he's just like, yeah, he screw you all, flips everyone off and runs off, and it's just like, oh man, why you gotta do that? It comes back to basically him and Danny talking nice, real emotional stuff, like recapping, like, this between me and Joyce. And it's like, what can we do? And he's like, oh, maybe we sit down and talk. But he's like, oh, but she won't talk to me, so you're gonna have to lie, and then I'll have to show up. He's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And he's like, just do it for me, Danny. So he does, and he invites Joyce and Davos, and she's like, this is suspicious. They must have heard from Ward while we were at the auction, or else how would he even know? Because he invited us both. And he's like, oh man, this is all over the place. He's like, we have to go, or else it looks suspicious. He's like, I don't know. And she's like, yeah, we gotta do it. He's like, alright, fine. And then, yeah, and so then he asks Colleen, and Colleen's like, yeah, fine, okay. They get ready, and then she learns about the whole Ward thing. She's like, this is a terrible idea. It was going to be fun, and now it's going to be terrible. It was going to be fun, and now it's going to be terrible. That's basically her thoughts. And so, gosh, where do I begin? To backtrack just slightly, we also have a couple things that I glossed over, being that Danny met up with Mary again, and she gives him these photos that she had that you kind of saw a sneak of last episode while she was doing a thing. She had made a call to Danny last episode, to minor thing, in which Colleen answered, and then she's like, oh, I shouldn't have called him, and just hung up. But she gives him these surveillance photos, and she's like, they're from someone called Walker, and so that's one of the alternate personalities of Typhoid Mary. And so we see that as like a very big hint to see her like double things, and I was right, she does have the one green eye, one blue eye. I can't remember the sides. In addition, Colleen also went to check out like this closed store of the guy Frank Choi she was looking for, who had like her family heirloom, and like she found the kid BB that she met the other episode, a few episodes back, one probably, and he's like, oh yeah, we just come in here and steal shit. And then she's like, yeah, well, just tell me about what's going down, and then walk with me down here. And she paid him some bucks, whatever. It was like nice, cute little thing, interaction between them. It was dope. It was done. It was not maybe consequential now, but maybe later, because they're doing a lot of that stuff. So then later we kind of basically cut, like I said, after he tells Colleen, then Joyce and Davos showed up, and they're just like, oh, we're here for dinner. They make they BS about their relationship, make up a bunch of crap about meeting, and then they're kind of throwing snide comments here and there, commenting about domestic because they turned the dojo into their house, and that's Colleen's not really teaching, and so there's just all these like undercuts, and then finally Colleen just like Davos says something like directly at Colleen, and she's like, all right, fine, well, let's just drop the pretense. We're supposed to be here to work shit out, so let's work it out. You're both angry at him, and Davos is just like, yeah, there was a lot going on with that, with you know, Joyce basically tells him how she actually feels, like, oh, well, you kind of ruined my life. But then I hate her. She's like, oh, well, you and Ward lied to me about my dad not being alive. It's like, yeah, because the hand was going to kill you. Kill you. Or him. Like, literally, what better excuse do you have? He's like, what? It's just me. You protected me, I guess, is her big whine. Whatever. And then later, Danny's just like, well, Ward's coming, so it's good we get this out. He's like, what? Because she didn't know. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, I can't believe you lied to me again, which is actually a valid point, because he didn't have to lie about that. Except she wouldn't have come. She's like, yeah, you're damn right I wouldn't have come. It's like that. It's like, come on. Come on. How are you going to do that? You can't be that way. If you're not going to talk to someone, then you can't, like, blame some people for not telling you stuff, because you're obviously not open to communication. Anyway, lying, but things aside, it's like, whatever, I'm leaving, because Ward never showed up anyway. He just couldn't do it, I guess. He was having trouble, like, resisting, so he went back to his NA sponsor, and she told him how bad he fucked up, and she's like, if you don't fix this with your sister, I don't think you'll ever have a successful human relationship, which is a really messed up thing. She didn't say it as a sponsor. She's like, this is just as a person, but that's still something fucked up to say to a person. It's like, I mean, even if you mean it, like, there's a better way to word that's not, like, gonna destroy someone's whole thing. Oh, man. And Davos, by sneaking around in their house, figures out that they got those photos, and apparently, as we figure out later, Joyce and Davos, hired Mary to, like, take those photos, and so they go to her place. All of a sudden, he's like, compromise, blah blah, and he's just like, oh yeah, like, what's going on? And Mary's just like, oh, whoops. She's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And they're like, well, we're not having that. And so, like, Davos steps up and just like, Mary's on him in a minute, got them blades. She's like, ready to take his head off. He's like, I'm not leaving. So tell me what's up. He's just like, well, whatever, I forgot what floats your boat. It's like, it basically floats your boat, but it was much more sexual and thing, as is Walker, because Walker's the crazy, like, bounty one, whereas Bloody Mary is just the psycho. She's just the psycho with powers. But I don't know if they're going to do powers in this one. We'll see. And once again, you know, we don't really have too many ties to the original stuff. Oh, how could I forget? I got so caught up in their family drama, which I was going to originally say is total bullcrap, takes up way too much episode time, and it does. It's way long drawn out. This is the worst episode so far. By far, no bad episode for that. But then in the last 15 minutes, they still somehow managed to pack in this little piece I almost forget, in where right after this, Danny and Colleen get a call from Mrs. Yang, who needs their help because she tells them he's out of town, but, you know, Mr. Yang is either dead or buried, like we saw from the last episode from what Davos did, and they need his help to, like, officiate the deal between the triads because it's going down tonight. And so they go in for this whole deal with the triads. She pulls out, they did some really, like, traditional, like, oh, here's my authority stuff, and then, you know, he's like, I am the weapon. He comes in, and it's great. It's just so great with that. And I think my favorite part of it is, like, you see the scene once again from I think the second commercial. It might be the first two, where he fights the guys and then punches the metal table. But it's because there's an ambush outside, so they try to kill her or whatever. Oh man, she goes ham on someone too, because Colleen fights, but I guess she's like out of practice or hurt or something. She gets beat a little, and he's like, and then Miss Yang just goes, whoa, with the hairpin into the eye, man, gone. And yeah, and Danny's just like out here looking like, who's out there? Who's out there? Ooh. Still, that stuff was definitely, like I said, even though it's like running around a bit and they have a lot going on again, I feel like the story is compelling. Like I said, this episode, critically, it's a little, like I said, that first part, they just needed to get rid of a lot of the, like, family expositions. Like, the first part with, like, Ward and Danny was great, but then they had that whole build. I also hated the part with Joyce. The thing with Davos, I didn't like because there wasn't enough emotion, and then Joyce's was too much emotion for her situation, so it was like, I don't know. But I just don't like her character, so it's probably just my bias there. Critically, though, I mean, they do very good, like, I don't know, like, pretty much performances. Danny's performance is still a little soft in this. We need a little more focus on Danny. That's my big criticism right now, is, like, everybody else's story. Like, Danny's got a little bit going on, and, like, he's been having a couple anger issues. Like, he hits the table in the fight with Mr. Yang last episode we didn't discuss, because it was just a minor detail, kind of. But like, he almost clocked someone. I guess it's a little more than minor, because he almost clocked someone in another fight where he's just like, yeah, I told you not to. But he almost clocked him with the fist, you know, the iron fist. Yeah. But yeah, and he didn't because Colin stops him, but it's just like, whoa, careful, Danny, you're going wild right there. Can't do that. All right, I think that is pretty much everything. Going down in as far as summary and critical analysis of that episode. I guess I'll rank them during the last review episode where I just do the whole series and as a series. But yeah, that was episode 3 of Hardcore Casual, where we broke down the kind of summary and comparisons of this episode and just really went in depth, even though we didn't go that in depth. Alright, thanks guys.